He is a famous daytime talk show host, but is mind reading among his many skills. Dr. Phil is here, and he says a brain scan may be able to reveal whether a man will cheat on his wife. It's information a woman named Angela could have used before marrying Jose.
I was married to Jose for 3 months before I found out he was cheating on me.
I always have been the kind of guy to just hook up when something comes along.
He was with his girlfriend while we were planning the wedding, and even when he asked me to marry him.
I confessed to 8 affairs.
He's a chronic liar, and he's very good at it.
And Dr. Phil McGraw is with us this morning. Good morning.
Good morning, Harry.
Well, that was a train wreck waiting to happen, I guess. Can people, though, be born with a cheating brain?
Well, here's the thing. There are a lot of traits that go into this, right? And obviously, a lot of this is learned. A lot of it's social, probably 70%, something like that.
Right.
But there are things in our makeup that make us at high risk for this.
Right.
There are certain brain patterns that make us high risk for this. They have now identified a gene that they believe may have a contribution to this as well. So yes, how your brain is configured, how it's wired can be a huge contributing factor.
Let's talk. We have some graphics
All right.
of a cheating brain and a non-cheating brain. Let's put them up. And what are we looking at here?
All right, what you're seeing here on the left, you're seeing the brain of a cheater. What you're seeing is activity.
It's busy.
Well, it is very busy, and the red shows activity, and this is at a deep level. And if you see this in the front of the brain, then it can make you compulsive. You get caught in a loop where you have to keep repeating just compulsive behavior.
Right.
On the right, you see the non-cheating brain, where all of the activity is in the back. Most of our brain activity is around the cerebellum, and that's where you see this activity in the back. So a huge difference. And so you find these people that have a history of cheating, you compare their brains to normal, and you see a dramatically different. Now that's just one brain scan. Now,
Can I ask you about Jose? Did you do Jose's brain?
we did.
And what did you find out?
Well, it looked very much like the brain of a cheater. And you have to look at it a couple ways. Deep activity, but also you look at the surface. See, the front of our brain is higher reasoning, and it's where we have the inhibition centers, where you put the brake on impulsive behavior.
Sure.
And if it's very low activity, then you get high impulse. And so what we're talking about here is who is at risk. And they take... if they're at high risk for this, and these folks are risk takers.
Right.
And you often see traumatic brain injury, that contributes to the likelihood to be a cheater.
Right.
And you see that and Jose, for example, was a mixed martial artist. So he had been hit in the head a lot, and there was brain damage in the front part of his brain.
Honey, I cheated because I took one too many hits.
Listen, a lot of women say, oh, you're looking for an excuse here, men.
Right.
And that doesn't excuse it at all, but it does tell you there's a contribution there.
If we're looking at those brain scans, look at these people with this high risk behavior and all that activity in there, is there a portion of this that is sort of like, I'm on a runaway train and there's nothing I can do to jump off?
No, but it does make you more at risk for it. And here's the thing. Clearly, what kind of modeling you've had, choices that you make, you still have the ability to choose not to do these things, but there's no question. For example, if you have, there's a chemical called oxytocin, which has to do with bonding.
Right.
If that's low, you've got a problem. If testosterone is high, you've got a problem. They have looked at an infidelity gene called allele 334, and men that have that gene in 1 or 2 copies tend to have twice as much marital disharmony and discord.
Right.
And you can look, for example, raise your hand up. Okay, if this ring finger is longer than your index finger, there is evidence that you're more at risk to cheat. Let's see what you got here.
No, it's
you're about even, so you're a fairly safe bet.
I'm
okay,
pretty safe.
You're a pretty safe bet, but that tells you that they were in a high testosterone environment in utero, and so it's been shown to have some prediction whether somebody's at risk or not. So there are a lot of chemical things.
I want to go back to this couple, though, that you profile for the show. And here's this poor girl. She's got a notion this guy's got this history in the first place. And you not only have the CV, you've got his resume, and you've got the brain scan to boot. At the end of the day, is there a way you can, either with talk therapy or who knows what, get him to say, you know what, I value my wife, I value my little child more than I value my other behavior?
Well, there's no question that you can, both at a brain level and behaviorally. You can do things to activate and turn on that frontal part of the brain which would give him more impulse control. So you can do neurotherapy that can help with that. So the big question is, if these things are risk factors, should women look at this before they get married? You know, you go get a license, do you want to get a brain scan with it? Do you want to see whether they've got the gene or not? And that's a question of whether we're going to run people through that mill. But there is more information about this.
Right.
It's not just an excuse. There are some contributors here
Sure.
that people need to think about.
So interesting. So I need you got to get a gene test and a brain scan, and I want to look at all your old emails.
And it's coming up on the show tomorrow. We have an in-depth discussion about it, so I hope people watch.
And in the end, you also then we're going to talk about liars and what you can tell a liar.
The Dr. Phil family is who people have been following with us all year. They're back after 5 or 6 years.
Oh, that guy.
And we're doing a polygraph here to determine whether somebody's involved with some child abuse here.
Oh, my God.
And we get the results today of that polygraph.
We'll be watching. All right, Dr. Phil, great to see you, and we'll see you back here again tomorrow.
A lot happens early on The Early Show, weekday mornings on CBS.